Just a quick story. We went to Ghana and Sam was taking me on a world tour of his life in Ghana before he came to the US. And so we were going to everything, honey. He was taking me everywhere. And he took me to Presec.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was showing me everything. Like he was showing me where he slept. He was showing me his bunk bed. He was showing their bathrooms.
Mess, big mess, guy. Has not changed in 20-something years.
Of course, when I went, I was like, I don't think I would have been able to handle this.
Oh my gosh.
But he was showing me so much of his life and how he was raised. And one thing Sam used to tell me was like, oh, when I was a kid, I was bad. And I'm like, I don't see you as being bad. Maybe you're, what you think is bad is really not that bad. And so then we end up going to Morning Star.
Mm-hmm.
He's excited because he's about to show me what grade? First grade?
Mm-hmm.
Class 1? Was it class 1?
Class 1, yeah.
He was going to show me his class 1, room. And before we go there, he wanted to make sure it was okay. And so he goes to the front office. And when he goes to the front office, he goes to the clerk and then he asks for who?
Mrs. Kwache.
Mrs. Kwache. But unfortunately, she was not there. And they said that, who was there?
Ajimai Hayward.
Miss Ajimai Hayward was there. And so you would think, when did you leave Morning Star?
1998.
1998. So at that time, it was about how many years? About 24 years?
It
was about 24 years since he had been there. So we walk into her office, and you would think after seeing, at least when she opened the door and saw it was Sam, there would be some excitement in her throat. Like she would at least look surprised. Or, I'm like, his sister is Dinah Hamilton. So at least you see Dinah Hamilton's brother. Like, that's how I was thinking. No, so they're exchanging. The conversation is so dry. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm just looking at how this lady is, speaking to Sam and handling Sam. She's being cordial, but you can tell that even to the point where we're taking a picture and it was just like total on and off. Like the picture, but as soon it was just off. And I was like, okay. So then we walk out the room and I say,
but she told you right in the room.
Oh yeah, she did say your husband was bad. She did say that. But she did. She was like, your husband was really bad.
I didn't do anything, I'm telling you.
No, but it was like the way she, like I could just tell that she probably triggered him. He triggered her because this woman could not shake the fact that she did not want to see this kid in her office ever again. I was like, you must have been really bad.
Guys, I promise I was not that bad.
I was like, you must have been really bad. Because this woman, even after 20, she doesn't care you're a doctor. She doesn't care that you're a man.
Grace movement.
About no grace movement. She don't care about talking about and no water pumps in schools. She was like, when are you getting out of my office? Like somebody says she needs deliverance. But you could just see you made a rule and he was waiting to break it, right? And it was hard to see that after 24 years that you traumatized her that much.
Traumatized me, boo.
Yeah. But she was traumatized by him, or he was traumatized by her, but whatever, there was some traumatization.
Yeah, well, and it probably still is.
But what I could see was her unwillingness to even bend. And to not even to even embrace him or to even understand who he was then. And sadly, that is the posture of some parents
and teachers.
And in my mind, I'm like, what if you or what if she is the only motherly figure to a child who has behaviors that are bad? The question is, what are you informing that child? That you're bad. You're too complicated. You're too emotional. You're too sensitive. What do we think we are informing that child? That you're unlovable. That you are, I can't handle you. You need to figure yourself out. I cannot help you. And sadly, that is how we inform our children. We say things and we hold a posture of, I handle you based on how I've labeled you. And you wonder why people deal with self-esteem issues and never feeling good enough. You wonder why children have low self-esteem, why they're rebellious their whole life. You can look at interviews of people who have murdered numerous of people, and you start asking questions, and at the core of it, you will find that it's somebody who was longing to be accepted, someone who was longing to be loved. And we find that in certain situations, when, in her mind, Stan was a stubborn fellow, in her mind, but in certain situations, the way we inform our children causes them to be people pleasers. It's whatever anybody says. Sometimes people have been framed a certain way, and the only way they can get out of that is just to become a people pleaser. I'm just going to do what everyone tells me to do. Because if I'm not myself, or if I behave the way that I am, I'm going to be looked down upon. And you find some who are high performance, as we talked about, that they have this level of perfection that's put on them. And so they have this pressure. And what ends up happening with parenting, and it's so spiritual, that our words are so powerful. And I think, our sister Dorcas keeps saying that words are so powerful, because what you say is what you will see.
That's right.
Even in parenting, if you keep telling your child you're selfish, that's all you're going to see is a selfish child. And you'll see they'll be even more selfish on purpose, because you're telling them who they are. If you tell your child, oh, you're so mean to your sister, do you think they're going to stop being mean? They're going to be even more mean. And so the question is, how do we move from parenting from a place of inconvenience? How do we move from parenting that's filled with judgment and criticism and punishment and comparison? How do we shift from that way of parenting into a more intentional way of parenting that is led with curiosity, that is led with compassion, that is led with understanding, that's led with discussion, that's led with validation, that's led with empathy, where connection is the goal and preserving the relationship is the goal?